Right. Education meeting is May 3rd, 2022 to order at 7:01 p.m. Can everybody please rise and join me in the pledge? There's a flag in the back. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Stolzer, could you please take roll?
Grimpy,
Here.
Fiorito is absent. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry. Camardo,
Here.
Friedland,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Ronstadt is absent, Stolzer is here, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. Would anyone like anything discussed or removed?
I would just, I don't want to pull anything, but I would like to say congratulations to all of the individuals who have worked with us and have been a part of the district for over 4 years, and they are moving into their tenure track, and I would also, or into being tenured, and I also just want to say thank you to everybody who is getting their annual position
Recognition.
Sorry.
I'm here to
Thank you.
help. No problem.
I'm having a hard time
Very
forming
nice. Thank you.
sentences. So thank you to all of our staff who continue to be so dedicated to our students.
Very nice. Yes.
And I would like to call out that the last day of school will be May 27th. It's on the consent agenda, so everybody just goes past it and the public wouldn't know.
Well, I'm sure they will be made aware.
They won't be looking at
Yeah,
people who don't have kids
Okay.
in school.
Absolutely.
okay, yes, people who don't have kids in the school and need to know.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented in its entirety?
So moved.
Moved by Friedland,
Second.
Oh,
second by Camardo.
that's why I never do it. Stolzer, yes. Grimpy,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Friedland.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, board communications. We are awarding our superintendent contract. This is an action item. Does anybody have any comments or questions before we get started? Okay, then can I get a motion and a second to award Dr. Jody Megerly a contract from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2025 as our new superintendent of schools for River Trail School District?
So moved.
second.
Moved by Friedland, second by Johnson.
VA.
VA1. No, you're fine.
Under board communication.
Did you need some help? It allows everybody to have second thoughts before you vote.
Sorry, Jody.
Get nervous?
I got it, okay. Absolutely no reflection on the motion. Okay, I'm sorry, motion by Friedland.
Second by Johnson.
Johnson, okay. Sorry about that. Grimpy,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Johnson,
Yes,
Camardo?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries, absolutely.
High school. My husband Scott is in the middle there, and my youngest daughter Tana, 7th grade, 13-year-old, at Viking Middle School in your niece.
Thanks for coming.
I do have a few words, but I feel like I'm more nervous right now. Do you want a better picture, Ben?
Yes.
From the back. Probably saying.
Speak back.
Thank you.
I know.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So
First, want to thank the Board of Education for this amazing opportunity. I'm overjoyed and honored to be selected as the district's next superintendent. River Trails, as you all know, is a special place, and I look forward to continuing our work with our dedicated staff, our talented students, and our diverse community for the next many years to come. I also want to take a moment to say thank you to my family, who's always supported me and encouraged me along the way. And my parents are watching online, so I have to say hi to them. They are very proud of me and excited as well. Quite honestly, I feel like I have been just overwhelmed by the outpouring of positive sentiments from so many people, former colleagues, coworkers. It really has been overwhelming and heartwarming. So, with that, I'm super excited to begin transitioning right away and ready to go July 1st. So thank you so much again.
Okay, we also have open agenda for board member communications, if anybody has anything they'd like to add. One thing that I would like to add is last night's retirement and recognition dinner was spectacular. It was nice to have everybody back. It was nice to be able to have it on the calendar and pull it through again. So that was a really, really nice evening. So thanks to everybody who worked so hard to put that together. Would anybody else like to say anything? Okay, then let's go to district recognition, which is Lyndall and Dan Whistler.
Here this evening, I really appreciate you coming out. I know it's a little nervous to come to the board meeting and not accustomed to that, but I wish more of you would have came because I think it's really important that you understand how valuable you are and that the board and district administrators recognize that value. I mean, you've worked through COVID just tremendously. Many of you, I've talked with you about your families members that have had COVID, you've had COVID. It was such an uncertain time and it was so difficult, especially to be a kind of a frontline cleaner person. And there's so many things you do every day that make such a difference. So I'd like to say thank you to all of you for that.
Can I say something? I was one of those kids when I went to school that I was the one holding on to my mom's leg and I was the one crying and stuff. And at John Mills Elementary School, Mr. Ed, who was our custodian, gave me a handkerchief or tissues every day to get me to calm down. So I know that's a little embarrassing, but I know what custodians can do and the impact that you guys can have. So I appreciate everything you guys have done, especially what you've gone through the last couple of years. So thank you very much.
I'd just like to say a couple words too, because I think you've all done just a fantastic job. Our schools wouldn't look the same, wouldn't feel the same without you there. You pitched in when people have had to be absent and worked extra hours and really just gone over and above. So thank you. It's just been wonderful. Thank you.
So with that, administration and board would like to award you all a certificate and a pin. And if I call your name, if you please come up and receive it. Karina? Appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jimmy? Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
For that one, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That would be here, we're unable to make it. Easy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is also for you, Casey. Alexis.
Thank you.
Dave. Yeah, hard work.
Thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
And we have one more category of certificates that we're going to give tonight that were given last night at a requisite recognition dinner, but we missed a few of you, so if Mirza will please come up. We'll get to them. Your first one is your appreciation. Thank you so much. And then this is a certificate for your 5 years of service. Congratulations very much. Those are all for you, okay? Thank you very much. And unfortunately, I thought she'd be here, but Maria's not able to make it tonight, so we won't be able to get to that. So that completes the certifications.
Certificate. So we have a man here who came in the middle of COVID, had to figure out all of the cleaning protocols and everything going on, shows up on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve when whatever the boiler goes out or some alarm goes off or something's happening or the water's pouring in, whatever it is, he's there for it. He comes and presents today at our sustainability program. He's monitoring all of the net zero energy, making sure that that's working out. So I would like to thank Dan Whistler too.
I just want to thank you guys, everyone, because it is you, as they said already, for COVID, we couldn't have kept our buildings open without you. And you don't just clean any buildings, you clean schools. So you're not just, keeping things clean and moving, but you're warm, approachable faces for families, and that's really important. And so, thank you for all you do. It is not unnoticed.
Works for a service, but he's been helping us out for the last 3 or 4 months, and I don't have a certificate for him, but we really appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
There's cookies and cake in the back, so please help yourself before you leave. I can't eat it all. I mean, I could, but, Thank you. Let's get to RTEA comments. Bob, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the RTA Executive Committee and the entire membership, I'd like to thank the Board of Education and the administration for the wonderful working relationship that we continue to have with you. I'd also like to offer my congratulations to Dr. Meggerly on her well-deserved appointment to a new superintendent of the district. I think that she will serve the district well for many years to come. So I'd also like to say congratulations to the board for completing this arduous and daunting task of choosing a new superintendent, which I know has taken up much of your time. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob. And do we have any of our visitors that would like to make a comment?
Congratulations to our new boss.
Nice.
We're very excited and we appreciate all the time that the board put into working through the process.
Thank you. New business brings us to Education Services. Mr. Toombs, you are up.
All right, good evening. So this is an information item related to certified staff Chromebooks. So historically, certified staff have been issued a laptop and Chromebook in order to support effective instruction happening in the classroom. In August, the district did purchase new laptops for all certified staff through ESSER funds. However, a lot of the Chromebooks that we currently have issued to these staff members are really old, 4 to 5 years. They're less than optimal in terms of their performance. And so I'm recommending the purchase of new Chromebooks for all certified staff members. In order to determine the make and model, we are currently taking part in a pilot program, which does involve 8 members of the district technology committee. As part of the pilot, we are piloting 3 different devices. They're listed on the memo. There's a Lenovo 14E, Lenovo 500E, and an Acer Spin Chromebook. So the plan will be based on the feedback, which the pilot will end this week. Our next board meeting, I will come back with a recommendation for action regarding which model that I would recommend for purchase. I have gotten quotes from 3 different vendors for all of the models, and the best prices are listed on the memo for each one of them. Each one has different kind of functions and performance, and so that's based on their price. Any questions?
Any questions, anyone? Will that be a consent agenda or will it be?
It will be a
action item?
consent agenda, yep.
Okay.
All right, moving on to classroom projectors.
Yep,
All
please
right.
do.
So this is an information action item. So each year we have to replace classroom projectors due to them aging and no longer being functional. In previous years, we've replaced them with wireless projectors similar to the one in this room. And while these are great projectors, I am recommending that we purchase an interactive projector. So an interactive projector allows the teacher to not be tethered to their workstation all day, but be able to interact with the content at the board. It also allows students to come up to the board and interact with the content, whether using a pen or actually their finger, because there are touch capabilities as well. This is a really nice, I've seen this implemented in many other districts, and I think it's a great way to get more interactive and collaboration happening in the classroom. So I have received several quotes from different vendors based on this Epson model, and the one that I'm recommending is purchased from Midwest Computer Products. It's listed there. There is the actual interactive display. There's a mounting hardware that we will need for the projector. It's mounted actually over the whiteboard. The nice thing about these projectors is the whiteboard is still functional. So it's different than like a smart board where the panel is blocking the board, and when it's not in use, you can't really use it. So the whiteboard can still be used as expo for magnetic purposes if you're not using the actual interactive capabilities, but when it is turned on, it is interactive for the students and the teacher. And then there's a touch module that I would add that allows for the finger to be used on the board as well. So the total cost for 12 of these projectors, including all of the hardware, is $20,916, and that's been budgeted in the FY23 budget. These projectors are pretty popular, and so the lead times are kind of long, so that's why I'm bringing it to the board now, because the earlier that I can get this order in, the quicker we can get them installed. I can't promise we'll get them installed this summer, but as soon as we get them in, we will get them installed in those classrooms. Any questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't realize it until now. So only 12? So who are the 12 lucky ones?
So the 12 lucky ones are the classrooms that need new projectors.
Is it
So
mostly the middle school, the elementary? the-
it's kind of a mix between all of the schools, actually, minus the Early Learning Center, which has new displays. So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would say there's probably half of them at the middle school, and then the other are at Euclid and Indian Grove.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Anybody else?
So it'll be phased in.
Yes, the plan would be to phase these in, and I've already had conversations with all the teachers who will be getting them. They'll be receiving training and support. And really, my goal is to get feedback from them as to whether or not this is a technology that they see as beneficial, because my goal would be eventually each year to phase these in. We don't have the budget to be able to purchase all of these outright. So we'll kind of, as we replace projectors, we'll replace them with this model.
How much more are these to the typical or previously purchased projectors?
Great question. So the standard projector that's like in this room is roughly about $1,000. Keep in mind the lumens or the brightness of these projectors are not as good as the brightness of the projectors that I am recommending, as well as the laser projectors that I'm recommending have a double lifespan, so they last twice as long, as well as we don't have replacement lamps or bulbs that we have to get for them as well. So there's an increase of the interactability, the functionality, as well as they're more economical long run.
All right, so I apologize, I just thought of a question. Are we going to be okay with the distance where they are mounted now from the whiteboard? Is that going to have to be adjusted?
So
and
the new projectors themselves are mounted above the whiteboard, so they're a short throw projector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're mounted above it, and they short throw straight to the board right below it.
Never mind.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I've walked through the spaces with my technology maintenance specialists who will be installing. We've identified where they're going, so we are set to install.
Anybody else? Oh, absolutely, yeah. It is an action item, so can I get a motion and a second to purchase 12 Epson BrightLink 725 interactive projectors at the cost not to exceed $20,916?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Friedland, second by Johnson.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Johnson,
Yes.
Grimpy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, business services. Dr. Schuster, you are up.
Okay, so Baker Tilly Virchow Krause has served as our audit firm from the year 2012. They are an independent certified public accounting firm licensed in the state of Illinois. They are a leading firm for K-12 school districts. They've provided over the years the district with some very valuable services that have include timely submissions for our annual financial report. That was an issue before we hired them, the timeliness. And the comprehensive annual report, which is this big book that you get every year. Yeah, I know. Great going to sleep reading. They prepare and audit our financial statements. They do our federal single audit, which is a requirement because of how much we spend. They usually do it on food service, but also in IDEA and some other areas. They review our internal controls every year and add on new items that need to be looked at. They have expanded their services the last couple years. We've had to do a GATA consolidated year-end financial report. They also implemented GASB statement number 84. So anyway, I believe that they really provide us an excellent service. I'm recommending that we accept their 5-year proposal, which is in the amount of $30,450 for FY22, $31,973 for FY23, $33,572 FY24, and $35,251 for FY25, $37,014 for FY26. So based on really my retirement in 2 years, I think it's really important that we continue with a financial firm that really knows our school district and can help out the next person that comes along.
You stole my thunder, I was going to say that.
Oh, you're going to say that? Okay. And it is, this includes all of the standards that are currently there. If there are new standards that come along, there could be additional charges, depending upon what it takes to implement those standards.
Well, they've been a good partner. There's
They
no
have
reason-
been, yeah, they're
there's really no
excellent.
reason.
They've been excellent partner, and we have, a couple of their top people working on our accounts, so they've been very good.
Does anyone have any questions?
So nonetheless, them doing a good job, 5-year contract. We looked at alternatives.
I did not this time. I have in the past. When we first hired them, we did an RFP and looked at a variety of firms and recommended this particular one.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
2012 was the year they started with us.
Okay, and the price has been going up relative to that?
Yes,
In a
yes.
reasonable manner?
Yes, in a reasonable manner.
Okay.
Anybody else? Louis, go ahead.
Yeah. When do we have to sign our auto contract by?
Well, they start their services about the first week of June, I believe.
Oh, coming up.
Yeah, June 5th or 6th, which is why I brought it to this meeting.
Okay. I would be in favor of the 3-year contract. Overall prices are fine. I mean, just looking at the audit price, it's not crazy, out of line at all. And the difference between the 3 and the 5 is under $2,000. But I think any audit company, 10 years is a really long time, and it's just healthy for the district or the company in general to change the audit firm in general, but
Yeah, no,
understand
I
that
actually
the
agree with
current-
that, and that was one of the reasons we looked. We have switched partners over the years. We used to be with Nick Cavallari, which was in the one proposal, and then they switched us, kind of because of that reason, at least switched our partner.
Yes, okay, so good.
Yes.
But then as to your point that, retiring in 2 years, then having some continuity for the new business services, it is good to have them, but then for 1 year, and if they like the service of Baker Tilly, then they absolutely can sign a new 3-year contract. But to tie them to Baker Tilly for another 3, if they probably have an audit firm they work with and like, or relationship, they might want to bring them in, might not. I would be in favor of the 3-year contract to then giving that options for a change as they see fit.
If I may rebuttal here, people coming into our school district can't bring in a firm they work with.
No, sure,
Or
they
somebody
could
they
have
like. No,
worked
they
with
can't.
them in the past. They worked with
We
an
have
audit
to
firm
do
at
a
another.
We have to do an RFP.
Okay, but
Which-
they could recommend that we go to
Yes, they may,
RFP with
but
them and have
right.
good word. Sure, they can't just
Exactly.
outright hire them, but
Right.
I'm saying the relationship of saying, I strongly recommend this audit firm. I've worked with them for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to bring that to the board because of X, Y, Z reasons.
But we would still have to do
Of
an
course,
RFP.
sure,
So it'd
sure,
be
do an
ev-
RFP,
yeah,
that's
right,
fine. And
Right, just so
We
that you
can
know
consider
that.
it then.
I guess I would just like to say one thing about that. I think it will be very difficult for a person that's only been here for a year to also have to do, as they're learning the job and learning everything about the district, to have to do that RFP that first year that they're here, which is why I recommended the 5 years.
But that's for them to decide.
Yes,
They could choose not to,
yeah.
as opposed to not giving them a choice at all. So I support 3 years over 5.
Okay, so Linda, in terms of what Louis is saying, we do it for 3. They are like, okay, let's re-up with Baker Tilly. What have we lost?
A little bit of money,
Okay,
but it might be the board decides to do an RFP at that point in time.
right. So I'm just saying, it gives that new person flexibility, and we've lost possibly how
Yes.
much savings by not locking in 5?
It looks like $2,000 over 3 years.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's a couple $1,000s. I mean, Baker Tilly is one of the best and well-known, so.
Right.
I don't know that somebody would want
I
to
love
switch
listening
it.
to Elizabeth. I'm not, you know, but,
Yeah.
but I think you and Louis are both agreeing that it's a good idea to,
Yes,
Yes.
yes, to relook at it every
To
once in a
relook
while.
at
It's just the
every- yes.
timing right now.
right, and so
Yeah.
yes, I think you're both saying like when is the right time to do it, and he's saying maybe give the new person a little flexibility, and with $2,000, we could give that person the flexibility sooner rather than later. Right.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Well, do we know, though, that if we,
No, we don't know that if we don't go with the 5-year plan now, that it would be only $2,000 difference.
no, that's
No,
not.
it's proposed
let me-
right here.
Hold on, let me get my question out.
No.
The quote that Lindell has is for 5 years. That quote may not be the same dollar amount if we say only a 3-year. So
Yes, that's
we-
possible, yes.
But my point is, we can't then approve, we can't just say, okay, let's approve 3 years, because we don't have the dollar amounts for a 3-year.
No, we have the dollar amounts for 3 years. We don't have the dollar amounts for the
Oh,
second 3
okay,
years.
I'm reading the motion.
Yeah, there's a few different.
You're right, okay.
So Louis persuaded me a little bit here. The 10-year thing with an auditor, that's a general finance best practice, or?
10 years is a long time.
Okay, so, I do have, I'm sure Baker Tilly's a good company. They've done a good job. They've got a good reputation. I agree with the continuity piece. I struggle with a termed contract of this size with no competing something. And I think it's a good decision overall, but I keep saying this, and I think I'm going to end up taking like this position from now on. We have got to start watching the money we're spending. We have to. And I don't know if we put this out to bid, if we would get a better price from Baker Tilly, but we have got to start saving money on fixed expenses in this district. So it's a good, sound decision, good partner, little long. I'm struggling with supporting this just based on the no bid component. And I think, Louis, your guidance on that being a long time for an audit firm.
I think the statement that Lindell made about changing partners, at least, is a good sign, and that is important. So for that perspective, it's a positive. And
We have 2 years, right? I mean, if Lindell's going to be leaving, if we made a change this year, we have 2 years to kind of get.
well,
Oh, well, we wouldn't go out,
we'd have to go out to RFP.
Right, we
and,
couldn't-
there's no time to do it
Right.
at this point, if we have to start on June 1st. Without knowing any other audit firms' rates, they don't look astronomical. Maybe you'd save $2,000 a year, maybe, I don't know, just totally off the cuff. But no, your point in general, yes, I would think in 3 years, we should at least, consider it, if the new superintendent has the capacity and desire to do so.
Okay, well, I'm just going to put out there that any kind of contract
Yeah.
that exceeds a certain dollar amount going forward, if it's not presented to me in time to decide to do an RFP, then I'm just going to start voting no on big spends where there's no chance to do an RFP, where the timeline dictates that we don't have a choice here.
Well, but then you need to do that as a future topic and come up with that dollar amount. You can't just say.
No, I think I need to ask I think it's appropriate that the administration present these to spend money on a termed basis in a contract like this with enough time for us to approve this. So in my opinion, this should have been presented, or maybe not should have, could have been presented a few months ago so that we could make a decision on approving this. And I don't think that that's something I need to bring forward. That's just something I need to say to the administration, at least from my perspective. I'm going to need some notice on some of these big contracts and these assumptive kind of relationships we have with the firms. They've all been great. We work with great partners, but we got to start watching the money we're spending. I'm done.
I agree that we do need to start watching our funds. I think the issue lies in the fact that some of these things for public institutions, you have to go so far out in advance in order to do RFPs for some of these things, that I'm not sure how how far in advance you'd like to hear about them. Because, I mean, we have all of this other business happening during the course of that time. And to go out for RFP on every single thing that costs over a certain dollar amount, it becomes actually, we start losing money internally because people are spending so much time managing the RFP process that it's just not beneficial.
There's a balance, I don't think it has to be on everything every time, but I think there is a balance that we need to, if it's a pendulum, we've gone too far to, this is our partner, this is great, let's renew. I'm not saying go RFP on everything, but I think selectively over a couple of years here, we need to be a little bit more selective about, hey, these have been good partners, yada, yada. We still got to price check them. We still got to keep it competitive. And that's it. So I'm not saying everything, just to be clear.
I feel like I have to say that if you talk with our administrative team, our leadership team, and you ask, do we look at our expenses? This starting to look at is, to me, makes it sound like we're not. Now, there may be areas like longer-term contracts that we need to, that the board might recommend that we bring to the Board of Education. But I've worked with a number of business managers in my history, and Lyndall watches every penny and finds us really good deals. And so I know what you meant. I just want to make sure, especially because we broadcast these, that it's that this is another area that the board may direct us to take another good look at. I appreciate it.
I guess I would like to say, too, I probably would have gone out with an RFP on this year if we had not been in the middle of negotiations.
There's been a little bit going on.
Yeah, there's been a little bit too much going on. So, and in order to get the audit done on a timely manner, and it's been a wonderful partnership. They have been very, they really look closely at what we're doing, and they've been on top of everything, all the new regulations and everything. So I'm recommending we go with them.
Okay, so can I get a motion and a second to approve the Baker Tilly 5-year contract at the cost for 2022, $30,450, 2023, $31,973, 2024, $33,572, 2025, $35,251, and 2026 at $37,014.
So moved.
Moved by Johnson, second by Grimpy.
Grimpy,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Camardo,
No, I propose we go for the 3-year instead.
That's
Yeah.
the motion is the 5 years. If the
Oh, yeah.
5-year, if
Sorry,
the
then just
5-year
no, just no.
fails, then we could do another
Yeah.
motion
So,
for the
sorry, I
3.
thought you always get to say why you're voting no.
Oh, that's fair.
So
Okay.
I'm
Nope.
saying
Yeah.
no because I support the 3-year.
Stolzer, no.
And
Motion.
Wait.
Johnson.
Johnson, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Donna. Johnson,
Yes.
motion carries.
Well,
I voted for the 5-year. That was the recommendation of the administration.
Right?
Okay. Correct. Extra duty. It's an information/action item. Lyndall, you have the floor.
Okay, so the Extra Duty Committee has been meeting, and they are recommending for this year that we rename and redefine the mini clubs that we currently have and make it into a position called, well, it's not a position, but in a category called new clubs. And this would allow for staff to suggest and create some new and exciting opportunities for our students based on what the staff's and the students' interests are and their needs are. So principals would be keeping track of these new clubs and what is approved. Their staff would apply for them. And if there are some clubs currently that have become either antiquated, they have low student enrollment, or there is nobody that wants to fill that, then that money gets rolled into this new club. And if the same thing happens in the middle of the year, Right now, we have to go to the extra duty committee and go through a whole process, and this would allow the principal flexibility. They'd meet with the school's extra duty committee member and decide that those funds could be put into this new club also, and they could have new ideas and new things to do. It's not spending any more money than we currently have in extra duty. It's just reallocating it to be more flexible. In your memo, you have an outline of some of the clubs that they would like to disband and add to that new club pot already. So that would be what would happen for the new year. So we're recommending that the board approve this.
Any questions? Donna, go ahead.
So you said the principals will be taking over this. Who does it now?
Well, there's an extra duty committee that is kind of chaired by a couple staff people, and really there isn't any flexibility. So it has to, it's pretty much, it's a set extra duty. So there's, an art club, a chorus, there's a whole list of set things. So those are the only positions we can offer currently. So if nobody wants to do art club, then basically that position goes unfilled and we don't have a club. So in this case, we don't have anybody doing art club, but now somebody wants to do bird watching. And there's a teacher and they can get 10, 15 kids going to doing it. Or maybe it's arts and crafts. So now they can propose that, okay, this club is going to meet once a week for an hour for 10 weeks.
Okay.
And then they have this pot of money called new clubs. And so that club will come out of there, and the principal will keep track of how many of those happen. It's just the new club part that the principal keeps track of. All the other ones are still set.
Yeah,
So nobody's doing it because of the system doesn't allow the flexibility to do
The
it.
system does not allow flexibility right
Well,
now.
how is it that the system then allows the principal to do it if all of a sudden? What system?
Our extra duty committee is recommending that this particular pot of money, which actually many clubs right now are managed by the principal.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to figure out why all of a sudden the principal is burdened with doing
Well,
this.
the principal
and what's-
has always
is
kind
it-
of been in charge of the extra duties that are going on at their school.
Oh, they have been.
They have been.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
the pot, it's just how the money and what
Okay.
the jobs are the principal has not been able to make any changes to it very
Okay.
easily.
Got
So
it.
this allows the principals to make changes to it easily.
Got it.
I think it's because they were working in conjunction with the extra duty committee. So some of it was a little bit tied up, like the process was taking a little bit longer. And so by the time they wanted to get the club implemented, or at least this was my understanding of it, is that, like a little bit too much
Right,
time had
okay.
passed. So it's just,
Okay.
it's just taking out the middle person.
All right, can I get a motion, a second, to approve the remaining and renaming and redefining the current mini club positions into new clubs and the proposed school changes as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Friedland,
Second.
second by Johnson.
Friedland.
Yes.
Ronstadt.
Yes.
Camardo.
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Grimpy.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, we are back to the MWRD Agreement. This is an action item. Lyndall, you still have the floor.
Okay, so at the last meeting, the board approved the bids to do the permeable paver and rain garden project at River Trails Middle School, contingent upon having an agreement. We have a partnership with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District that will give us $650,000 towards this project, but it needs to have an agreement, intergovernmental agreement between both parties. So the board had some questions. I would like to point out, and this has to do with the agreement, this project not only benefits our school district, but it also benefits the community because Mount Prospect has some issues with water and flooding, and that was the reason that Metropolitan Water Reclamation District chose our project because they could see this. So here is this parking lot here at the middle school, and you can see what it looks like on a day like today. If you happened, I went walking, and I could, even all the sidewalks were flooded. I had to walk around them, and that was just in the neighborhood. But this is the actual parking lot. Patty will show you a couple more pictures. And I don't know if you drove around the bus lane today, but there was a huge puddle right there. That's that one right there. Yep. Okay, so she has a couple more pictures. This is Prairie Trails parking lot, permeable pavers. No flooding, because the water, the water is being stored before it kind of goes out to the rivers and creeks. So the project here at this school was to store over $200,000, 200,000 gallons of stormwater, which is a big benefit to the community. So that is part of what is in this agreement. So we had our attorney reviewed the agreement and sent some changes. There were some changes that they did not accept, but the attorney gave us the advice that the remaining points were not enough to stop us from moving forward on this project. So I'm going to go through the questions and the answers from the attorney. I also talked to MWRD. They had looked at my memo that I sent to the board. They agree that with all of these answers. The first one was, the question was, how does it affect our 100-year lease with the Park District? Well, we're not actually affecting the property that's leased to the Park District. It's right adjacent to it. And it would be, it would make things better for the Park District because the cars and whatever they're doing, it'll help their flooding issues too. So it was also within 25 years, we could have merged with another school district. There was questions about whether or not MWRD would take the money back. I mean, they also told me it's very unlikely that we'd ever have to give the money back, but this is kind of a safeguard because we are benefiting the community, not just the school district. Another school district would take this on if we did merge, similar to what we're doing here. On the maintenance, they talk about committing to 25 years, and then they say in perpetuity. The 25 years is actually maintaining this particular project, but the perpetually refers to how long the district must ensure the project provides the intended public benefit. So that's that greater than $200,000 storage of stormwater. And then the last question was with the termination. Does say, in effect, for perpetuity. That is, again, for the benefit that we are providing to our community of storing that water. And there is a provision, if we would sell the property or something, we need to let them know, give them 6-month notice if we were going to do something like that, but that is in there too. So I'm still recommending that the board approve it, or I think the operations committee is still recommending that the board approve this.
Any questions for Lyndall? Okay. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the MWRD agreement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Camardo, second by Friedland.
Friedland.
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Johnson.
No.
Ronstadt.
Yes.
Camardo.
Yes.
Grimpy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
District Communication, Mr. Finford, you are up. Mass Notification System. Take your time.
Thank you. So this is an information item for this meeting. Our mass notification system is one of the most important communication tools that we have. It's what we use at both the district and school level to communicate with families via email, phone, text, alerts, just general information. It's also one area that I feel pretty strongly that we need an upgrade. Our current system does allow us to reach families, but also makes it a very cumbersome process. And anyone who has used it, several in the room, know that it is not at all user-friendly. It is frankly something that I just don't trust, especially in an emergency situation. So earlier this year, I began looking into alternatives with the help of Matt Tomes and Nan Greenlay. We spoke with several people in the district who use our notification system now, and it was pretty universal in support of making a change. We pinpointed some key features that a new system would have to have, and we reached out to other districts to learn what solutions that they use for their mass communications. From these conversations, I was able to pinpoint 5 companies that offer notification platforms that might work for us, and spoke to all of them, and from there narrowed it down to 2 finalists. A process you guys are familiar with. This was based on a combination of available features and pricing. Along with Matt and Nan, we spoke to the 2 finalists, received demos to make sure that they were what we were looking for, and in the end we decided that Swift K-12 would be the best solution and worth the extra $1,700 it would cost per year versus our current system. Not only is Swift K-12 platform more user-friendly, it offers several features that many I spoke to found beneficial. This includes an app that allows us to send messages from our phones, a feature that would prove incredibly useful if there were ever an emergency that forced us to evacuate and didn't give us time to grab our laptops. It allows for more control for families regarding their contact information and preferences, and a better ability to track messages that have already been sent out so we could make it easier to optimize the way that we are reaching out to families. So the bottom line is Swift K-12 would improve our communications infrastructure and help us reach families without some of the hassles we experience with our current system. I am recommending we enter into a 3-year agreement with Swift K-12 for a mass notification system. If approved, it would go into effect on July 1, giving us plenty of time to transition over and plenty of time for everyone to make sure they know how to use it before the new school year begins. And that will be a consent agenda item for our next meeting. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
I would just like to comment that it was, I appreciate the thoroughness of everything you put here. It helped me not have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you.
I too appreciate all the work and scoping out this, and it sounds like it's a much better solution. But to dovetail on my previous comment, we're almost doubling our price here on another thing. There's just little stuff here adds up. You know, we just approved projectors. I don't know if everybody caught that. $500 more per classroom. We're just doing 12, but we're setting precedents there. So these numbers, they just add up. They add up. They add up. And this is not a number that's in line with the amount of revenue we're continuing to bring in here. So if there's any magic you can work to get that closer to the price that it was of our current solution,
I'll certainly look into it.
Linda, do you think there's any opportunity for us to use some of that grant money from the COPS grant? The safety grant? I know it wouldn't be a permanent solution because that's, one time.
It's possible, but I think, we may have spent all that money, but we can look at it. I mean, I think they did pay for, our phone system, which we were planning to pay for ourselves, so, it's not that much.
again, it by itself, great solution. It's just, this stuff just adds up. We all know that. But
I think I think the nice feature about it is, actually, I'm surprised that we weren't using it sooner, since it integrates with PowerSchool so well. So I feel like we piecemeal all of these. It's like when you have cable, Netflix, Hulu, and all these other things, and we have all of these options, but we don't use any of them necessarily to their full capacity because everything is so scattered and piecemeal. So I think that this is nice. It'll give one centralized communication system for all of our staff and a formal piece to kind of send out news, I'm assuming newsletters and everything else, like you mentioned in your memo. So we're just trying to find return on investment, I feel like. So I agree with you, it's an extra cost, but I think it'll be much more effective in pooling the resources that
that's no doubt.
that we do have.
I believe that Matt is looking closely at all of the software that we have and whether or not we are using it effectively, and, trying to make that more cost-effective too. So, I think this one is one that's cost-effective. There are others that maybe we can, as we go through the year, get rid of maybe a few things too.
And to add to what Janine said, are we sure that the Bright Arrow, we can't have some of these features with Bright Arrow, that it's just missing these things?
Yeah, one of the issues we have with them is that they don't seem to be updating it much. It seems they created a platform and sort of have said, set it and forget it, which is frustrating, especially interfacing. So, it takes a little bit longer to do the things that shouldn't take that long, like sending out emails or calls and things like that.
Even things that should be really simple, like attaching a link.
Right.
If you don't, or a PDF, if you don't put it in the right, like you've got to go to the HTML site and then you've got to go back. It's a huge pain in the neck. I don't do much of mine because I'm always missing some piece of it, so I just make Ben do it. But I know that in the schools, it's often the secretaries, and when you do have to do something in a hurry, it's all of us pushing to Ben because you want to make sure it gets done right, and it's tough.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, President's Report. On May 7th, we have the River Trails Education Foundation flower pickup. You had to have pre-ordered your flowers in order to pick that up. That is here at the middle school from 9 to 11 a.m. On May 15th, the Public Relations Committee is recommending everyone buys tickets to the Day with the Dogs. We've sold 277 thus far, so we've got a goal that we haven't met yet, so buy more tickets.
What is our goal?
So we sold 343 the first time we did it, so we're inching there. We're getting there. So we're hoping. Chicago Dogs are an independent baseball team in Rosemont. They play right off of 294.
I know that, but maybe the audience doesn't.
Gotcha. Well, there were communications that went out to help everybody understand that.
There's residents who might support you who don't have children.
Understood.
And this is not a fundraiser, this is a fundraiser? How's that?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. There's.
Yeah, the district does not make any money off of this, but it's a way to really build community and have us have a great time together and support the Chicago Dogs.
On May 25th, we've got the 8th grade graduation at Hersey High School, and as mentioned earlier, May 27th is our last day of school. All right, so we are going to take a short break, and then we'll be going into closed session for the matters of personnel, students, and the sale of property. The board may take action upon exit of closed session. So it's 8:01. Let's come back at 8:10. We'll see. 8:10.
I don't think we have anything to take action on, right?
Because we ended up doing the superintendent. I had to leave a placeholder in case.
Oh, I got you. But we still have something for closed session? Okay. No action items for closed session. There you go.
We
So.
were discussing the new committee.
All right, we'll come back at 8:10. All right, President Pro Tem, I hereby call the 2022 Board Reorganization Meeting for the Board of Education, River Trail School District 26 to order at 9:26 p.m. Dr. Stolzer, could you please take roll?
Yes, we're in a new.
We're in a new meeting.
Pledge of allegiance.
Okay, no. Okay, same thing. Same people here. Camardo?
Here.
Yes?
Fioritos, absent. Friedland?
Yes.
Grimpy?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Ronstadt?
Here.
Stolzer's here.
Here, I meant.
And now we're here again.
Okay, so the first rule of business is to appoint a temporary chair. I'll entertain motions from the floor to elect a temporary chair to conduct the election of the board president. I'll nominate Mrs. Johnson as temporary chair. There are no further nominations from the floor, and the nominations are closed. Can I get a motion and a second to approve Mrs. Johnson as a temporary chair?
Motion.
This.
You second.
I'm getting there. I second. Ronstadt?
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Camardo?
Yes.
Friedland?
Yes.
Grimpy?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'm not giving it back to you.
Here you go.
No. Okay, so the first order of business will be to elect the president of the Board of Education for River Trail School District. Oh, I should be on mic, sorry. The first order of business will be the election of the president of the Board of Education, River Trail School District 26, to serve until 2022/2023 at the board reorganization meeting, or until his or her successor is elected and qualified. So I now therefore entertain nominations from the floor to conduct the election for board president.
I would like to nominate Mr. Grimpy for board president.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, there are no, I declare the nominations to elect a board president closed. I will now entertain a motion and a second to approve Mr. Grimpy as board president.
So moved.
Second.
Ronstadt?
Yes.
Grimpy?
Yes.
Camardo?
Yes.
Friedland?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes,
Stolzer, yes. Motion carries.
congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we'll proceed with the election of the board vice president. Let's see. Recognize the next board.
You've got to
Election of
read
vice
all that
president.
legally. That's
Okay,
legal.
I am recognizing the next order of business to be the election of Vice President of the Board of Education, River Trail School District 26, Cook County, Illinois, to serve until the 2022-2023 Board Reorganization Meeting and until his or her successor is elected and qualified. I'd like to entertain nominations from the floor for the office of Board Vice President.
I nominate Mrs. Friedland as board vice president.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, I declare the nominations for the office of Board Vice President closed. I would like to have a motion and a second to nominate Mrs. Friedland as Board Vice President until the 2022-2023 Board Reorganization Meeting.
Motion.
I second. Ronstadt?
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Friedland?
Yes.
Camardo?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Grimpy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Janine.
Hard-fought election.
The next order of business is the election of the Secretary of the Board of Education, River Trail School District 26, Cook County, Illinois, to serve until 2022-2023 Board Reorganization Meeting and until his or her successor is elected and qualified. Can I entertain nominations from the floor for the office of Board Secretary?
I would love to nominate Dr. Stolzer.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I declare the nominations for the office of Board Secretary closed. Can I entertain a motion and a second to nominate Dr. Stolzer as Board Secretary until the 2022-2023 Board Reorganization Meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Camardo, second by Johnson.
Johnson,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Ronstadt,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Grimpy,
Yes.
motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to adopt the established times, dates, and locations? Actually, the locations are
Yeah,
to be
TBD.
determined, because we were hoping to go back to some of our schools, as we've done in the past.
I do want to mention that I had a little issue, and the calendar's a little bit different than it had been originally. It's
Just the June meeting is
After that, it
affected.
doesn't matter for me. But we had to move it to June 14th. If you would like me at the board meeting, we need to move it to June 14th.
June 14th?
Yes,
Instead
ma'am.
of June 21st.
Okay.
Which was previously sent out.
Yes.
But what, does everybody have this? Okay.
It's in the.
So what you have
Yeah.
physically is correct.
But if someone had looked at it.
What you
Yeah, I
had is
put it in,
incorrect.
So I need to
I'm
remove
so
it.
sorry.
That's okay.
I hadn't put it in on my calendar, which is
Yes.
why I had a problem.
Okay, so a motion and a second to adopt the established times, dates, and with locations to be determined of the River Trail School District 26 Board of Education meetings from May 17th, 2022 to May 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Friedland, second by Johnson.
Johnson,
Yes.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Grimpy,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to adopt the committee assignments as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Friedland, second by Johnson.
Hold on, I'm still making those locations TBD. Okay, sorry, who moved?
Moved by Friedland, second by Johnson.
Johnson,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Friedland,
Yes.
Grimpy,
Yes.
motion carries.
And finally, can I get a motion and a second to adopt the prior River Trail School District 26 policies, rules, and regulations as presented in your board book?
So moved.
Moved by Johnson, second by Grimpy.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Grimpy,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Friedland,
Yes.
motion carries.
And at this time, I'd recognize any members of the audience to approach the board. We have none. And coming up next then is future topics. Anybody have any future topics for the board? All right, then can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Johnson, second by Friedland.
Ronstadt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Camardo,
Yes.
Friedland,
Yes.
Stolzer, yes. Grimpy,
Yes.
and we are adjourning at 9:35.
35. So we will see you all on May 17th, 2022.
Or
I-
the dogs game.
Yes.
Is
That's
it before
correct.
then?
The Dogs game would be the 15th.
Then yes.
We're getting out of this meeting 2 hours early. I just want to point that out to everybody.